Okay, we will call to order the special meeting of the Board of Aldermen, the budget adoption for Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. If everyone will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a silent prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, my man. All set. Alderman Elsa. Alderwoman Cavallo. Alderman Dorso.
Here.
Alderman Hunter.
Here.
Alderman Lopez.
Here.
Alderman Mosley.
Here.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Here.
Alderman Nugent. Alderman Rinaldi.
Here.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Here.
Alderman Salvio.
Here.
Alderman Talagine. Alderwoman Weaver.
Here.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
Present.
Alderman DiGiovincarlo.
Here.
12 present, 3 absent.
Okay, and just for the record, Alderman Tajaldine had an obligation planned a while ago that he could not get out of. Alderman Nugent is out of state, and Alderwoman Cavallo has some personal medical issues going on with her family. So with that, the next item on the agenda would be to resolve ourselves into a committee of the whole. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion? Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy. Motion being made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries. We are sitting as a committee of the whole. Item number 4 is the consideration and action on the mayor's proposed 2024-2025 budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and the capital improvement plan for the fiscal years 2025 to 2029. Okay, in front of you, as you know, in order to adopt the budget, the operating budget is comprised of 6 resolutions that we will take up one at a time. And then the capital budget is comprised of 2 resolutions that we will also take up one at a time. In front of you, you should all have the 8 resolutions in total with the capital. These are the resolutions that were given out in March. They're the same resolutions that were in the budget book that were given out in the beginning of the process. The only change that has been made and is reflective in this package that you have is to resolution number 5. Resolution number 5, there are some blight fees on page 12 that were changed and will be changed if the blight ordinance that is proposed goes forward. These changes will be implemented. So that is it. Everything else in this packet you have seen since March. That is the only changes. So with that, we will take up resolution number 1. Resolution number 1 is a resolution making appropriations for the operating departments of the City of Waterbury for the ensuing 2025 fiscal year, pursuant to Section 9B-3C of the Charter of the City of Waterbury. Total department appropriations, Resolution 1 is $446,722,287. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 1 is read.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion being made and seconded. Discussion. Alderman Alsop.
I can honestly say that I can't support this. I sat down with this budget since we received it, and I was able to identify what I felt were at least $4.5 million of reasonable changes, negative, reducing that down to 442. I saw a number of items in here that I felt were exorbitant, and it's the only word I could use. 40, 50%, 35% increases, and I know there's such a thing as inflation. And I wish the Biden administration recognized it when they increased my Social Security based on that at 40%, but they didn't, because that's not the real case. So many of these things were inflated. In addition to that, some of the salaries and stuff that have been inflated significantly. And when we're looking at people in the city of Waterbury who are on fixed incomes, are barely making it now, and we're increasing pays significantly to other people who are already making a decent living. I just cannot, in good faith, go along with this. There's just too many things in this thing, and I honestly believe that our system that we use is flawed in that we don't get a bipartisan opportunity to develop it. We did sit with the mayor and the group yesterday. Too late, too little, not enough of anything. We need to be part of the system so that everybody has a say as every line is put in. Not, this is what we're going to do, see what you can do about it. I don't appreciate that. I never will. If it keeps on, it always does. But I feel that it's my duty to represent the taxpayers, not the Republican Party, not the Democrat Party, or anybody, but the taxpayers first. And given that, there's no way I could support this. Thank you.
Further discussion? Alderman Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. After 8 weeks of carefully consideration and hearings, I have decided to vote no on the proposed budget. While the arguments presented have been compelling and the fiscal responsibility of a yes vote has been emphasized, I believe that the long-term implications and potential risks have not been adequately addressed. The budget, as it stands, does not align with my commitment to sustainable financial planning and prudent expenditure. It is essential to consider not only the immediate benefits, but also the future of financial health of our community. Therefore, I must cast my vote in the favor of fiscal prudence and against the current budget proposal. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further discussion? Alderwoman Zimmerman.
So we did take a lot of time to meet with all the department heads, and I'm glad we did, because it's necessary to be engaged with all of our departments. And I don't believe that we've met with every single department in the past 5 years that I've been here. We've met with many, but not all of them. So I'm really glad that we did that. So what did we learn? Because that was the whole point of this, and it was really important. We learned that we're short-staffed in many departments, which was an issue. Why are we short-staffed? We talked about how we're comparable amongst the area in salary. Sometimes we're not comparable. We've learned that that we may need help from HR to change the rules and responsibilities, so that way we can fix some of the salaries to be comparable, so we can hire people for some of these departments. I'm excited for the new administration, and I'm thankful, Mayor Penarewski, that you're willing to listen. So thank you very much for all of your time. I think we need to put special attention into departments that bring in revenue. And I really feel, after talking to the auditing department, that special attention needs to be paid to that department so we can fully audit, especially with the new administration, what we have and what the value is. So right now, with the conversations that we had, I will be voting no for the budget. We need some improvements, and we need to work at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Alderman Allison.
Yes, I'd just like to follow up saying that I agree completely with the audit department. We got an explanation in meeting with the mayor and his staff yesterday. I believe that it's probably the most feared department in any business, corporation, or anything else is the audit department, because you're held accountable. And we have shorted ours as long as memory serves. I would love to be able to say that we have too many people because we haven't found anything wrong. To say we haven't found anything wrong, so we must have enough people, doesn't set well, because if we had more people, would we find something? That's my question. If we had the time to look at it, when the audit supervisor says to us, I haven't seen some of these in 4 or 5 years. That's wrong. We had a $450 million that nobody's going to watch. When we have the number of vacancies that go on year after year after year after year, no matter what the reason is, something's wrong. You can't run a large business. Either you're appropriating for people you never needed, or you're not getting the people you need. And we can't do it properly. We owe it to the taxpayers of the city of Waterbury to be responsible in every way possible. I don't believe, again, I spent over 20 hours personally going line item by line item and looking at things. And I can tell you that there are times in this, and I have pages of it, that I increased what was being budgeted. I didn't just go in there with a red pen and cross out and change numbers arbitrarily, or pick a percentage that I was going to reduce. I was very realistic. Some of the numbers are really offline completely. And I challenge anybody here who did what I did, besides the staff that developed it. If you found nothing wrong, please tell me why and how often and how long you looked at this budget. Because I don't believe everybody sat and did it line item by line item, because most of you work and I'm fortunate enough to be retired. But I think it's very important that regardless of what happens tonight, we have to be online and tuned in as aldermen to what's going on and how it's going on. The transfers that are made, the things like that, that means you had too much money in there to begin with. If you can take money out and not affect anything, there's too much money. That means you took it out of somebody's pocket. That's wrong. Bare bones means you're getting by and you're sweating it day to day. It doesn't mean you've got built-in money to move around at the end. So again, I can't support this, and I would like to say that next year's, I would ask strongly that we have some people, more people involved in getting this developed and scrutinizing it, so that when we come to a night like tonight, we can all say, this is a great budget, I can support it, rather than do something else. I'm not here as a person who just wants to find fault. I want to be part of the team, and I want to make it right from the beginning so we don't have to do corrections. If we're not right, we have to go back and correct, and that's what I'm going to say is going to happen in the next year. Scrutinize. I'm going to scrutinize everything that comes through, because I'm appalled by the number of transfers and things that happen, and by the empty slots, that the money's never going to get spent for what it's budgeted for. So where's it going to go? Surpluses, I'd love to say we did it. I want a surplus because we found ways to save money on stuff that we had to do, not because we overcharged to begin with. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Alderwoman Zimmerman.
Sorry for the ping pong, Mr. President. I just remembered something, so thank you for recognizing me. Just to touch on education, where do I even start? We have a CJR program where we spoke with the head. Now, CJR is the therapy program for the kids in our schools, right? So mental health is very important. They have no idea if they have a contract after June 30th. So these kids are in the middle of finals. Are we going to tell them that they don't have therapists next year? We don't know. We have a marching band that just went to Washington, D.C. that doesn't know if they have uniforms or a drill instructor in August. We have a whole book of other things that we talked to Dr. Ruffin about. Redistricting. She totally agreed with us that we had issues with redistricting. You have bus issues, redistricting. You have population issues in the schools, redistricting. We have no answer if we're going to redistrict. And the other question is, we have you know, we're always like, we're going to go through the budget and save money. Well, if we save money, I guess, Mr. LeBlanc, I don't know if you can answer this question, but can you lower the mill rate? Because I remember from back in my early terms, I don't think we can just lower the mill rate one year if we save money. I don't know if you can, like, it has something to do with like our rating or can you explain that? Just maybe recap a lesson for me so I understand. Because if we could save $9 million, we just can't take 2 point something mills off of our taxes starting in FY25. Like, how does it work when we find savings?
So the way it has worked for many years now is to the extent that there's savings that are achieved or there's revenues that come in higher than the budgetary estimates, it results in a year-end surplus. At the closure of the books, generally at the end of August, our numbers are finalized and then brought before this board is recommended year-end transfers
Right.
utilizing the surplus funds that are available. There's many benefits that come from that. One is the ability to report out, be it to the bond rating houses or others, that the city was able to close its fiscal year in the black. The surpluses, last year's surplus was in the $4 to $5 million range, which equates to the equivalent of about 1 mill rate, 1 mill overall. But those year-end surpluses, you know, when they're presented to the board, they are predominantly all for contributing to self-funding projects or programs or initiatives, as well as setting aside funds for additional reserves, be it in our internal service funds, for health benefits, for workers' compensation, and for general liability purposes. All of that interplays with maintaining the financial stability of the city as it progresses then into the next fiscal year. The alternative, you know, presents problematic scenarios. If you end the fiscal year, if you were to, if you will, lower the mill rate, end the fiscal year in a deficit position, which hasn't happened for, I want to say, at least the past 18 to 20 years, it's going to be a red flag at the end of the day. So what's been presented through the budgetary development process is a budget that, in the case of year over year, presents an increase of 1.34%. We believe in the development of that process with the Mayor's Budget Development Committee and with Sarah Gary that in spite of inflation, that, you know, the pressures of inflation are hitting us in every cost category, as well as the pressures of maintaining competitive salaries that enable the city to maintain its talent as well as to recruit for positions as they become open. And, you know, the growth at the end of the day, you know, is contained to the greatest extent that it can be. As was reported out at the presentation originally of the mayor's proposed budget, the department requests, and Sarah can correct my numbers if I have them off a little bit, but the department requests were lowered by $4.7 million in coming up with the mayor's proposed budget for next year. The mill rate that ultimately is a byproduct of the budget and the grand list that's available to support the budget, again, that's the equation that produces the mill rate. So if we were to consider at this stage of the game lowering the mill rate, you'd have to find the associated areas to reduce the budget for that equation, if you will, to balance out.
Okay, and then since education is almost 50% of our budget, to my understanding, they've requested to increase the budget, and we haven't increased that budget in over 11 years. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to lower the education budget, just to be clear. I'm just concerned about the allocation.
Just to clarify, Sarah Gary, Manager of Budget Development and Oversight, the Education Department did not request an increase in their general fund contribution for next year.
Okay,
It's $158.4 million. It's been at that level since, I believe, FY '17.
Okay. So throughout inflation, COVID, everything, we've never raised their budget.
We haven't increased the general fund contribution to education, but their Alliance grant, which goes directly to the department, has been increasing over those years. So the
Okay.
Alliance grant increases have allowed them to sustain the operations.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Now, what happens if if the budget does not get approved? Because I've never been through that process. How does that work then? Because we have a date in which we have to have an approval by, correct?
That's correct. The budget is supposed to be approved by midnight this Friday. And there are provisions in the charter related to the budget not being approved. Just find those and the mayor can answer that.
Hi, Mr. Mr. Mayor.
Adopt the budget by the time that it's due to be adopted, you will, in effect, under the charter, have adopted this year's budget with all the requisite increases to cover all of the legal costs that you've incurred over this time. So the contractual raises, the bonds that you've promised to pay, to the extent any of those have gone up, you would increase this year's budget by that amount as certified by the budget director, and that would be the budget that the city would adopt.
We wouldn't meet again to rework anything.
If you don't adopt it
that work?
by the end of the deadline, which is midnight Friday, you will have effectively adopted this year's budget with the necessary increases to meet your legally obligated costs.
Okay, thank you.
So,
And Mr. President, just on a state representative level, aren't we waiting for the state to approve their budget for us to be sure that we have the state funds that are in our budget?
the state's already
No,
approved.
budget's been
They've already
approved.
approved it? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
The state legislature, thank God, is adjourned for the summer, so no more damage to our pocketbooks these days. So.
Thank you. I think that's it. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I could just take the opportunity. I appreciate the discussion about fiscal responsibility, but sometime about 2 months ago, we sent you a proposed budget. You've had it for 8 weeks. Over that time, you've met with all the department heads. You've gotten stacks of details on what went into that budget over the last 8 weeks. We met. I have an open door policy. I met with you when you requested to meet with me. I would have met with you anytime, but you came in. We put aside over an hour yesterday to go through some of your concerns. We answered them. I think we had a very cordial meeting. I appreciate everybody wants to be fiscally responsible. You've seen what we've done. You've seen how we got there. A budget that increases by 1.34% year over year does fund additional money to keep teachers and police officers and other workers here in the city. We're facing the same problems everyone else does. What I want to see, if you're going to be fiscally responsible, is put your cards on the table. Don't just give us a speech about it. Show me what in here you would cut. What would you change? What would you do? $4.5 million. I haven't seen it. $9 million in savings. Where is it? Where is it? Do you have an alternative to what we've proposed? You're going to vote no. That's not going to get you anywhere. What's the alternative to what we have proposed? What do you take great exception to in this budget?
May I answer?
Sure.
I don't want to break any rules.
Alderman
I came
Allison.
in there with a stack of papers yesterday.
Alderman
I went
Allison.
down 4 or 5 line items, and I got a pat on the head, said, "Good boy, you did a good job." I saw there was no interest in negotiating anything I brought up. There was no point in pursuing it.
Okay.
It gave you 24 hours at the best to look at what I had. That's, for whatever reason, that's the time.
You gave me 24 hours because you came in when you asked to come in, Jack.
You met with me within 8 days of me asking you, and I agreed.
Oh, I was out of town last week, so
Pardon?
I was out of town last week at a conference.
Right.
It was
And
a short week,
I'm
so
not
was
saying
out of
that's a fault. You gave me, within 8 days, you set up a meeting, and I agree with you. But we didn't have that opportunity. I'm sorry, not your fault, not anybody's fault. I didn't look at this in 5 minutes. I didn't have the opportunity to look at it for 6 months or 4 months before we got it. We had to beg to get the department heads in here. We had
No,
to
you didn't.
request that.
No, you didn't.
We had a right,
and
and
we get the department heads in here. That's not true.
They weren't here. We had to ask. We
said-
got 'em here.
The process has been historically to see which department head you want to meet with. You said you want to meet with all of them, and they all came in and met with you.
Right. And then we had to digest it. We had to look at it. You want me to come in here and say, okay, I talked to them for 5 minutes, do this? That's not my style. I study things and look at them.
Okay.
All right? I was trying to be responsible.
I'm just asking where the proposals to
All
the
right?
changes to
I
the
had them
budget
with
are.
me. Nobody showed any interest yesterday. All I got was inflation, COVID, and that's the way it is. I realized that, number one, everybody's looking at their watch, me included. Why am I going to spend time? I got several pages, hours and hours worth of work. We weren't going to get through that. At no time did you say, can I see what you're doing? I had it. I said, I have it all right here. Line item by line item by line item, what I thought.
And we went through the ones that you wanted to go through.
No,
And at the end of that meeting, this is how the meeting ended. I just want to be clear. No pats on the head, no go out the door. The meeting ended when you said, thank you for meeting with me, and I think I think I understand where we're coming from, and it's clear to me now. That's how the meeting ended, Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's not the same thing as my shuffling you out the door and patting you on the head, is it?
No, but when everybody's getting up to go, and I
You got up
said,
to go until you were done with the meeting. That meeting went longer than it was
All right.
scheduled.
We can
Nobody
argue
got up
about
to go.
that
My
left
point
and
is,
right.
my point is, we're sitting here tonight, we're talking about a budget, we're talking about fiscal responsibility, we're talking about no votes, but nobody's going to put on the record what it is that they would change in this budget.
you like a copy now, so you can use
Jack,
it for next year.
I want you to do what you're supposed to do.
I did it.
You're supposed to propose an alternative budget if you don't like this one.
I was preparing it. I had it prepared.
Where is it?
All right, here's a copy for you.
Mr. Brown, my only point is that we're here, everyone is discussing how we're voting no on this budget because we don't like it, it's not fiscally responsible, but no one has put on the record here this evening what their alternative would be. There's no proposals for how to change this budget, what would be different, and much of what we've heard is actually would be increasing the budget, additional positions and additional pay. So it's an interesting discussion, but I just want to be clear. We've put it out there, we've been willing to talk, we've met with all the department heads, and we still don't have anything that's an alternative to that we could look at and say, these are the changes we would make. We would cut these positions, we would increase these salaries, we would cut these services, whatever it would be to get to a number that's different than the one that we arrived at. So that's my point. I just want to make it. And with that, I would hope that you would take a look at this budget, realize that it is fiscally sound. Waterbury has come a long way in 20 years. You asked when the last time there was a deficit was in 2001. We haven't run a deficit in the city since then. We've run surpluses averaging around 4 to 5%, or 4 to 5 million a year, which is 1% of the budget that we run in a surplus every year. Money which that gets put into the unallocated funds and gets used for some capital projects over time. So it's money that's well spent. So I'm open to this. I would meet with anybody. I don't think there's an alderman here who has not been able to come in and see me when you've asked to come in and see me and have these discussions, but we haven't had a lot of them. And I just want to be very, very clear that it's easy to say you want to be fiscally responsible and to talk about the problems, but let's lay it out there and show exactly what you would do to make all of those changes.
I will allow you to
Further discussion?
please take this so you can use it as a rough estimate for next year. Thank you. I do have other comments.
Alderman Alsop.
One of the points that I need to make, and it's unfortunately almost mute because we are limited in what we can cut from the education, our contributions. We're basically handcuffed to handing them what they got last year, no matter what. But I think it's very necessary that everybody, the taxpayers, my fellow aldermen, and everybody else hears this, how, I want to say, irresponsible the Board of Education has been with their spending. It really is terrible. Speaking to the people who sit on the Finance Committee for the Board of Education, they had one short meeting and probably 6 or 7 pages given to them about the budget. That's what they got to approve. When I was on the Board of Education, we got something like this to look at as a board member to decide on the budget. There are people in the board, under the board's authority, that are getting $60,000 a year raises on top of well over $100,000 to begin with. And the answer I was given is, well, he's taking on a grant. What were you doing at $120,000 a year that you can now take on another $60,000 a year job? Something's wrong with that picture, severely wrong with that picture. We're not hiring somebody new, we're adding to somebody's income that honestly don't know how it's happening. We have other people that are staffing areas that are getting large raises because they're not union. So there's discretionary spending. The superintendent's staff has increased beyond my wildest imaginations. When I had spent over 30 years working with and being on the Board of Education, when I see what's on that staff now, it's mind-boggling. And I know there's new laws, there's new things, but you know what? People can do a couple of different things. They don't all have to have a title because today I'm in charge of light bulbs, because the guy who's the electrician has to watch out for switches. It's basically almost getting to be that ridiculous. We need to be somehow much more cognizant, especially of the Board of Education being such a large portion of the city spending. And most of that money, we have nothing to say about. They get grants and stuff, they come before us to create new positions. That's where we have to stop. They've got to be put on notice. The Board of Education has been irresponsible about governing that part of the budget. They don't meet on things, and not as a derogatory way, but it looks like you're watching bobbleheads. Whatever they put in there, they all sit in a room and go like this, no matter what gets put on the table. I don't hear questions, I don't hear anything. And we've got to find a way, and I know charter revision is finished now, but there's got to be a way to get a rein on the largest part of our budget and the way it's being wasted in many, many, many ways. I see on our agenda for next meeting, $85 million, thereabouts $82 million for the dual language school. How is that? That was a turnkey operation when we got a hold of it. We've already put HVACs, roofs, and whatever else is in there. Now we got another $82 million coming up. Something's wrong, and when it comes to us, we're the final step. We've got to stop giving them everything they come before us. It's not always good for the kids. I can tell you that right now. What's good for the children, there's not enough money in the world to make me say no to. But when the staff and the administration is running rampant the way they are and wasting it, we've got to stop. We've got to stop. That's the largest part of our budget, and we sit here blind. The Board of Education Finance Committee sits there blind. We can't tolerate that. So we have to take a stand somewhere. And this is the perfect time to do it. No to everything. Now go back and fix it, and we'll start saying okay. Thank you.
Further discussion? Alderwoman Zimmerman.
I just want to say, Mr. Mayor, 100% correct. We did have an opportunity to propose a new budget. And from conversations that the Charter Committee has heard, there's been requests for help. It's hard to do this part-time, this role, and really do the due justice that it takes to do the role, to read through the information, to ask the questions, to do the research. So my hope was if this budget does not pass, that we would have an opportunity to work together before Friday to put something together. I just like to throw the last question out here, and I'll try not to make another comment, but after all of the feedback that we got from our department heads, is this entire board comfortable with voting yes? We've had a lot of issues that we talked about and a lot of gaps that are happening, and nobody's fault. I mean, it's just room, it's opportunity, it's space for opportunity. Like, are we gonna take it? Because we also didn't make any changes based on the feedback we got before today. So I'm going to leave that question there, and thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, let's take a roll call vote, please. For resolution, let's take a roll call, please, for resolution number 1. Roll call vote. Excuse me. First, let's just do it a different way here. Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Opposed, no.
I didn't hear you.
For resolution number 1 that we're on.
no.
All those against, say no.
No,
Okay, let's take a roll call, please.
thank you.
Alderman Alsop.
No.
Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
No.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
No,
Alderman DiGiovencarlo.
Yes.
We got 9 yes, 3 no.
Thank you. Resolution 1 passes. Resolution number 2 is a resolution approving the tax levy and appropriations for operating departments of the City of Waterbury for the ensuing fiscal year pursuant to Section 9B-3C of the Charter of the City of Waterbury. Resolution 2 will set the mill rate for real estate and personal property at 49.44 and the mill rate for motor vehicle at 32.46. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 2 is read.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Alsop.
Again, I believe that there's an opportunity to reduce this mill rate by doing things like the properties that are tax exempt for years. For instance, when St. Mary's was tax exempt until we bought it, nobody collected taxes on it. Sacred Heart was no longer tax exempt. Nobody collected taxes on that. There's a number of things going on that we can go after versus the homeowners and the businesses. I mean, we don't want to drive businesses out either, but the taxpayers and the homeowners are taking a hard beating on this. And the only way to do it is to go after those who are tax delinquent and make sure that everybody's paying what they should be paying. So I'm going to vote no on this because number one, it supports the budget I voted no on, and I can't say yes to one and no to the other. But I also believe that in order to bring the mill rate down, we need to be more diligent in collecting the money from those who owe it. We're afraid of Waterbury Hospital. We're told, don't worry about it, it's going to be covered. But we're on bare bones, but we're going to be able to cover it. There's a lot of questions that go on. We need to take more responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
Roll call.
Alderman Alsop.
No.
Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Nay.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
yes,
Alderman DiGiovencarlo.
Yes.
Okay, we have 9-2. 9 yes, 2 no.
Okay, resolution number 2, oh, excuse me.
I missed one.
Yep, Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy, I'm so sorry. So we have 10 yes and 3 no. I got that?
No, 10-2.
10-2, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Resolution number 2 passes. Resolution number 3. It's a resolution making appropriations for the ensuing 2025 fiscal year for the Water Pollution Control Enterprise Fund of the City of Waterbury. Resolution 3 sets the rate at a rate of $3.953 per CCF. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 3 is read.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of resolution number 3 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Roll call.
Alderman Elsa. Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Yes.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Alderman DiGiovancalo.
Yes.
11 yes, 1 no.
Okay, resolution 3 passes. Resolution number 4. Resolution number 4 is a resolution making appropriations for the ensuing 2025 fiscal year for the Water Enterprise Fund of the City of Waterbury. Resolution 4 will set the water rate at $2.65 per CCF. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 4 is read.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Roll call.
Alderman Elsa. Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Yes.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Alderman DiGiovancalo.
Yes.
11 yes, 1 no.
Okay, resolution 4 passes. Resolution number 5 is a resolution adopting the schedule of fees and charges for services, licenses, and purposes of the City of Waterbury for the ensuing fiscal year. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 5 is read.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy. Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Alderman Alsop.
Stand by, I'm going to approve this. I find that this is responsible. It's about time we caught up to the rest of the area, towns and stuff, and started getting Waterbury the money that we deserve to have brought in for the different situations here, the fees and stuff, versus having out-of-towners come to us and dumping their garbage and doing things because we're so much cheaper. So I think this is a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries unanimously. Resolution 5 is passed. Resolution number 6. Resolution number 6 is a resolution allowing mathematical corrections to the budget of the City of Waterbury and emergency transfers for the ensuing fiscal year. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion? Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Alderman Elsa.
My question is that, is this simply because 2 and 2 might add 5, and then we see that and we say 4? Or is this something that says, oh, wait a minute, instead of $1 million, we should have said $1,000,004? This seems like it's very vague, giving somebody carte blanche to change things.
Sure. Sarah Gary, Manager of Budget Development and Oversight. It would only be a mathematical error. The amount of the budget wouldn't be able to change from the $446,722,287. So if there was a mistake somewhere within it.
I know you can do the bottom line, but, I mean, you can move numbers around in between to get to the bottom line anyways. My concern is that changes would be made that aren't just mathematical for some reason, and if we give carte blanche approval to it, we never get to see them. So I'm asking that when these changes are made before they are instituted, will we get to see them?
As long as I've been here, this has never been used, this resolution, so it is just.
I know you've got a great calculator, I
If there was
understand
a
that.
small, probably mathematical error, but again, can't change the bottom line, and I'm not aware of it being used in recent history.
Thank you.
Alderman Mosley.
Yeah, just for clarification, so, Sarah, again, this is so that if there is a mathematical error, you don't have to come back before the Board of Aldermen for us to revote.
That would be correct.
Got it.
We would certainly be open to informing you if we did make any change, but I don't think this will need to be utilized.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further, Alderman Rodriguez.
Just a real quick question. If that could be any number, like, for example, if it goes over $1 million, you come back to us, or if it's less, you don't have to, how that works?
I don't think there's $1 million mathematical error in this budget.
Yeah, I was just asking.
Again, I think it would probably be something very small. We haven't used it, but if we were to utilize this resolution to make a change, we could inform the board, but I don't anticipate it'll be needed.
Okay. No, because I want to know if it passes an amount of a number, will you come back to us, or it's automatically you guys fix it, no questions
We
asked?
could let you know if we utilize it at all, but I think it would be more in line with what Alderman Alsep had said the first time, whereas if on subpage 2 + 2 = 5 instead of 4,
Okay.
or just a typo, but I don't anticipate needing to use it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I do want to say the questioning here is it's been pretty clear what's also in the resolution, and we're bordering on, implying that our budget director and Sarah Gary are hiding things, and you're questioning their ethics, I believe, and their integrity. So I believe it was stated a couple times now that it's for mathematical errors and for emergency transfers. So I understand. Sarah Gary has said they will come back with the changes and all that, but I don't like the questioning seems to be a little bit out of line. Obviously, we'll let it go, but I don't like the direction of what the questions were going, the way the questions were going. I think that you're calling out people's integrity and how they act and how they work. So, thank you.
May I answer you?
A further discussion, Alderman Alsef.
I had no intentions of doing any questions of integrity at all. My question...
It certainly sounded like it, so I'll let you speak, but it certainly sounded like it.
Well, let me clarify it then. It wasn't integrity that I was attacking or saying anything about. My question is, things happen, and I understand that. I've been around government a lot, and I see things happen. Gee, take the money out of here and put it over there. We've got the right to do it. It's a change. I don't want carte blanche. That's all I'm saying. I understand we're going to be fiscally responsible at the end, then we have to be responsible. We have to be able to know about it. That's all I'm asking. I'm not challenging anybody's integrity. And I apologize if it came that way, but that's not what my intentions were. My intentions are to make sure that somebody besides Sarah Gary or anybody else at some other point doesn't go, hey, I got a loophole here. That's all. That's all it's about.
Understood. But again, you're
Thank
talking,
you.
you're
As long
talking
as you-
transfers that, how many budget transfers have we voted on that is brought to us, to this board, to move money? Not behind our backs, not sneaky, not moving $1 million. That's what we're discussing here, and emergency transfers. Thank you. Alderwoman Zimmerman.
I'm not questioning anyone's integrity. I feel like everyone here does have integrity, and we do appreciate your work. I mean, that's been brought up multiple times, so thank you, Sarah. The emergency transfer, see, I thought that everything kind of went through us because I've seen all these budget transfers. What does that look like? Is that something where, like, you need to know today and you can't get a board vote? Like, why would we need this resolution in there?
This one, at the emergency transfer section, is related to emergency transfers, purchases of sand and salt supplies or any other snow plowing expenditures. It isn't as relevant maybe as it was several years ago because we do use our Town Aid Road state grant for outside contractors and sand and salt purchases. So the funding is available on the capital budget side, but if we were to have, an extremely bad winter and needed funding quickly, we have the ability for the winter expenses to do a transfer, but the transfer would be communicated, as the resolution said, it would be communicated to the board at the first meeting following the need to do that transfer, and we haven't had the need to do this type of transfer in a number of years either. I can't remember one that was done, but that would certainly, as the resolution says, be communicated to you. And that emergency transfer for snow is different from the section up above related to mathematical corrections. And a mathematical correction, just to be clear, is different from a budget transfer. And many budget transfers are required to come to this board for approval. So any budget transfer that needs to come to the board for approval certainly does come to
Okay.
the board for approval.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Mosley.
Hello, sorry about that. Thank you for recognizing me. I do think both clauses of the resolution are written pretty clearly, and I do encourage us to support this resolution number 6 as written.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Resolution 6 passes. Capital Budget Resolution Number 1. Capital Budget Resolution Number 1 is a resolution making appropriations for capital expenses of the City of Waterbury for the fiscal year July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, pursuant to Section 9B-3C of the Charter of the City of Waterbury. Excuse me one second, let's take a recess 1 second. Okay, we'll return to regular order of business. I'll read it again one more time. Capital Budget Resolution Number 1 is a resolution making appropriations for capital expenses of the City of Waterbury for the fiscal year July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, pursuant to Section 9B-3C of the Charter of the City of Waterbury. Total capital appropriations for Resolution Number 1 is $57,455,500. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve capital budget resolution number 1.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Alderman Alsop.
I did look through this budget and found it to be, in most cases, pretty well set up and pretty well done. My concern is, historically, come February, March, April, we're making transfers in this capital improvement things, and things that we thought were going to get taken care of get moved over for other things. Martin Luther King Park gets delayed, this happens, we move money from here to there, we do this and that. I would like to just say that, having looked at this and pretty much agree with it, I want to see it spent the way it's budgeted this way, and the proper items are done without having a lot of money in March and April and May changed around for other reasons. We have a lot of infrastructure problems, and we're addressing them the best we can. We don't have enough money, but we're addressing them, and I want to see to it that we try to stick to what we have here. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Alderman Zimmerman.
Thanks for recognizing me. I'm excited to see the capital improvement budget, and it looks like we have a lot of good things to move Waterbury forward on this, so I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Capital Budget Resolution Number 1 passes. Capital Budget Resolution Number 2 is a resolution approving the capital expenses for departments of the City of Waterbury for the fiscal year July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, pursuant to Section 9B-3C of the Charter of the City of Waterbury. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Approve resolution 2 is read.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries, and capital budget resolution number 2 passes. With that, Alderman Dorso, is there a motion to return to the regular order of business?
So moved.
Following items are on the consent calendar. Budget and implementing resolution number 1, resolution number 2, resolution number 3, resolution number 4, resolution number 5, and resolution number 6. And capital budget resolution number 1 is on consent to approve, and resolution number 2 is on consent to approve. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion with respect to the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the consent calendar is read.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion, any additions or any deletions to the consent calendar? Alderman Alsa.
1 through 4, I would like to have voted on individually, please. Again, unless I thought we already did that.
We already did it, now we'll do it a final time. We'll have to do it again. If you pull something from the...
Please,
Yep.
please.
What numbers did you want?
Number 1 through 4.
1 through 4. Okay, Alderman Dorso. Motion now is to, is there a motion with respect to the consent calendar minus implementing resolutions number 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the budget side?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor of passing the consent calendar signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, the consent calendar passes. With respect to budget resolution number 1, it's a resolution making appropriations for operating departments of the City of Waterbury for the ensuing 2025 fiscal year pursuant to Section 9B-3C of the Charter of the City of Waterbury. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 1 is read.
Alderman Martinez.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Let's take a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Elsa.
No.
Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Nay.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
No.
I'm sorry?
No, thank you.
Okay. Alderman DiGiovencarlo.
Yes.
9 yes, 3 no.
Okay, resolution 1 passes. Resolution, with respect to resolution number 2, resolution approving the tax levy and appropriations for the operating departments of the City of Waterbury for the ensuing fiscal year pursuant to Section 9B-3C of the Charter of the City of Waterbury. Resolution number 2 would set the mill rate for real estate and property at 49.44 and the mill rate for motor vehicle at 32.46. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 2 is read.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Let's take a roll call.
I will do it this way. Alderman Elsa.
No.
Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Yes. Yes.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Alderman DiGiovencarlo.
Yes.
11 yes, 1 no.
Okay, resolution number 2 passes. Resolution number 3 is a resolution making appropriations for the ensuing 2025 fiscal year for the Water Pollution Control Enterprise Fund of the City of Waterbury. Resolution 3 would set the sewer rate at $3.953 per CCF. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 3 is read.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Elsa.
No.
Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley. I will, I'll give him a minute. You want to repeat it for him?
Sure. We're voting on resolution number 3. It's a resolution making appropriations for the ensuing 2025 fiscal year for the Water Pollution Control Enterprise Fund. The City of Waterbury would set the sewer rate at a rate of $3.953 per CCF, just to let you know we're voting.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Yes.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Alderman DiGio Carlo.
Yes.
11 yes, 1 no.
Resolution number 3 passes. Last is implementing resolution number 4. Resolution number 4 is a resolution making appropriations for the ensuing 2025 fiscal year for the Water Enterprise Fund of the City of Waterbury. Resolution 4 would set the water rate at $2.65 per CCF. Alderman Dorso, is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 4 is read.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, let's do a roll call.
Alderman Elsa.
No.
Alderman Dorso.
Yes.
Alderman Hunter.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Mosley.
Yes.
Alderwoman Martinez McCarthy.
Yes.
Alderman Rinaldi.
Yes.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Yes.
Alderman Salvio.
Yes.
Alderwoman Weaver.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Alderman DiGio Carlo.
Yes.
11 yes, 1 no.
Resolution 4 passes. And with that, that is our business for the evening. Is there anything for the good of the order? Alderman Rodriguez.
I want to thank everyone that did all this for the past 6 or 7 months. It's been incredible. To all department heads that came here and answered all the questions, we need to say thank you because it takes a lot of information. I'm one of those guys that I want to say that I know the budget passed, and I want to say that I'll be supporting this budget as it passed, but I'll be looking really, really careful of how we spend it and how it's going to be done. So, that's one of my things that I wanted to say, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Dorso.
Thank you. I want to echo what the mayor said. I don't think we could have had a more transparent process. To insinuate anything else is disservice. To Sarah, Gary, and Mike LeBlanc, who did an amazing job, I want to thank you for all your time and effort. And just echo what Alderman Rodriguez said, the department heads that work sometimes 10-hour days, that sat here for 4 or 5-hour meetings, answered our questions, even after having their budget requests cut by $4.7 million. I want to thank you for their service and for their time, and great job, everyone.
Alderman Mosley.
Yeah, thank you for recognition. Just want to say this is my first experience with the budget as an alderman, and I appreciate the mayor and the budget committee for the hard work and diligence and transparency, and also for all the department chairs who came before us, sat through often grueling questions, and were able to rise to the occasion. I think our city's in a good place. I think to have a budget that only has an increase in 1.34% in this day and age in 2024 is phenomenal. So I think we're in a good spot as a city, and I just applaud the team that helped get us there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Zimmerman.
No one is questioning anybody's integrity. This is our job. Our job is to ask questions to understand. Now, if someone didn't word something and gave you the perception that's a situation that was just addressed. We are not, this is our job. Our job is to ask questions. Our job is to push the bar. Our job is to challenge to challenge the experts that we have working at City Hall. And I do appreciate all the work that's been done. I appreciate the time. I know we had a lot of meetings, and it was a pretty long process this year, and thank you to everybody. But let's not villainize what happened. What happened was someone, with all due respect to you, because I understand that that was a perception, Mr. President, and that's why you addressed it. But this is our job. So we'll take into consideration the tone in which we ask questions, but we can't villainize the process. It's important that we have this process. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, it wasn't perception, it was reality. So is there any further discussion before I finish then? I wasn't going to say anything, but I will tell you this right now. Go home, watch the meeting, and you come back and let me know how his questioning was, because I'll tell you right now, the questioning was pretty much questioning Sarah's integrity, Mike LeBlanc's integrity. Are we going to sneak money around? Clearly, after it was even said that it wasn't used. So you can go watch the video. I guess perception and what I believe is my reality, I guess, is your perception. The tone of questioning was, I thought, a little disrespectful. And you know what? As the board president, I'm going to call him out on it. I thought so. I thought we've been nothing but respectful on our side. I've had chances, I think, to really come at people, and I never have, and I never will, because I respect all of you, and I don't think that on a public forum we should disrespect each other or any of our budget heads or any of our workers or any of our city employees, and actually any of our residents of the city of Waterbury. So you can have your opinion. I have my opinion. I think the question was a little bit out of line, and I will apologize if you think that I was wrong, but I truly believe I was right, and I don't like the questioning, and I don't like where the questioning was going. So, anything, Alderwoman Zimmerman?
I do. I just have a reply to that. I agree with you 100%. Respect is everything. And I also apologize if I ever came across disrespectful, because that is never the intention. I have the utmost respect for every member of this board and the residents of Waterbury. And I thank you again very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further for Alderman Rowley?
Thanks for the recognition. I also, like Sean, this is my first time in the process of doing this, and we've learned a great deal. I want to thank all the department heads and for coming in here, spending the time with us, explaining and going through the process. I want to thank Sarah and Mike for laying it out so we can understand it, and I believe it is a responsible budget at 1.3% going forward, especially with general wage increases that were brought forward to both the Department of Public Works and the Police Department. So we were able to maintain all of our services, and I believe we added 9 people to what we have going forward. So I think all in all, it was a responsible budget. I thank each one for the process. I thank the public for getting involved also in the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alderman Martinez McCarthy.
Thank you for recognizing me, Mr. President. I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming today, and without being sarcastic. Sorry, I want to thank everyone for coming here today and not being sarcastic or villainous or anything, but I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. And I second.
Unfortunately, I still have to ask if there's anything further for the good of the order. Hearing none, Alderman Dorso?
Do I have to?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Alderman Martinez McCarthy? Motion made and seconded. We are adjourned.